What's up, hobby friends? My name is Casey, and this is eBay Miniature Rescues. Today, we're going to convert some Blightkings and turn them into Deathguard Marines. A few months ago, I was asked to do a little conversion work on a handful of Blightkings. It seemed like a pretty fun job, so I started to gather some bits for making the conversion. eBay is an awesome source for bits. I was able to pull together a ton of great Deathguard stuff for next to nothing price-wise. I also opted for the Cromlech bits for the flashier pieces like the heads and backpacks. Let's talk about a couple of problems we're going to face with a job like this. The size of 40k Deathguard Marines is pretty close to Putrid Blightkings, with a few exceptions. The arms are way beefier on the Blightkings, so shoulder pads are probably going to be a little bit of an issue. The good news is, most everything should be able to fit with a little bit of snipping and cutting. Let's check out what kind of supplies we have and start to work on these models. Heads, weapon bits, tentacle maker, milliput, green stuff, plastic cement, sanding sticks, nurglings, can't forget those. We also need a model to convert. I was sent 5 Blightkings to convert, and they are in this video, but in order to really show the conversion, I wanted to do an extra one for myself. This particular Blightkings was going to be part of an underwater themed warband that I haven't really touched in months. He has a pretty good pose that should allow us to reach everything and build in some really cool effects. I start by removing the seaweed I had glued on and start to prep the model for some plastic surgery. It's really important that you check your bits to make sure that at least they look like they could belong on this model. Otherwise, you may end up with some weird design clashes. I like to put the pieces up to the model and decide how I'm going to cut according to how they look together. You can really get away with a lot when you convert, so it's not the end of the world if they don't exactly match up. Green stuff can hide a ton of problem areas. I cut into the arm to create a cutting guide for my clippers, then snip off the arm. Using clippers isn't the cleanest way to do this, but I'm not overly concerned about the joint on this arm, so a little sanding to flatten it and the hand should fit just fine. For the other arm, I was able to use my X-Acto at the wrist and it came right off. The head was popped off and the area around it was cleaned. He's looking pretty good so far. Now we have to add the parts and figure out how to meld everything together in a cohesive design. Using a Dremel, I'm going to bore into the neck to create a little more room for this awesome Cromlech head. Using a Dremel can be great for cleaning and shaping minis, but it can also be a little dangerous. Wear a mask to protect from particles and hold the Dremel steady so you don't injure yourself or accidentally let the bit get away from you and tear off part of your mini. Not that that's happened or anything. Just be careful. After enough space has been cleared for the head, I dry fit everything one last time and lay down some super glue to put it all together. Once the main pieces are attached, I can start to put on some of the extras. The shoulder pad needs to be shaped a little bit in order to fit on this guy's shoulder. There also needs to be enough room for the backpack to fit without interfering with the new bits. I did have to cut a little bit away from the shoulder pad, but it fits right next to the backpack and looks pretty natural. I came back in with some plastic cement in order to soften the seams a little bit. This glue melts and welds plastic together, and it can be used to seal gaps. So a little bit applied around the attachment areas, and in a lot of cases the seam disappears. Here's the fun part of making this particular conversion. I got this tentacle and wire roller from Green Stuff World, or should I say I bought it. They didn't send it to me or anything. I've always been curious as to how well this thing actually works, and I'm happy to say that I'm actually really impressed with this little tool. It's relatively easy to use, and you can get some really good results. Here's how it works. You pick the size you want, direction of the lines on your tentacles, and wet the 2 plates. The water is so that the green stuff doesn't stick to them and ruin your plates. Then you line them up, take the 2 halves like a sandwich and roll back and forth. The plates are lined up so that the lines match nicely. The more pressure you apply, the thinner the tentacle will be. Once you're happy with the result, just pick it up and put it on the model. The results are pretty great. I'm excited to think of the possibilities for this little tool in future projects. Maybe a ton of wires on a cityscape, or a giant tentacle monster coming out of a sewer grate. Some kind of orc army that's been infested by Nurgle and brought back to life in order to fight. I'm not really sure what yet, but I can't wait to find out either. I may have gotten carried away with the tentacles on this particular model, but I was having too much fun to stop. I think they add a good amount of Nurgle goodness to this model, and they really do a good job at bringing the bits and pieces together to make something new. I've only done a handful of conversions in this hobby. When I was younger, it was almost mandatory to add bits to everything in order to make your models stand out. But today, with the accessibility of sculpting tools and materials, the possibilities are endless. I was heavily inspired by a couple of things during this build. Trent from Miscast has been making a really fantastic Nurgle army where in every single model is a crazy conversion. Seeing the possibilities out there has really opened my eyes to what is not only actually possible, but what is okay to do for our hobby. The other side of inspiration was from Jeremy at Black Magic Craft with his awesome video about painting some Deathguard Marines. Coincidentally, also inspired by Trent. You know what, Trent? You rock, man. Just you being all inspirational and stuff. Don't ever stop. After watching those videos, I really wanted to dive headfirst into the conversion game. I wanted to make something fun, something that was unique. I was given the opportunity by a subscriber of this channel to convert 5 Blightkings and turn them into Deathguard models, and I can't thank him enough for that. I do plan on painting this model on the channel in the future, but I wanted to document this process because I felt that it's just as relevant to our hobby as a painting tutorial.
Wait a minute. You're not painting anything this week? This is a painting channel.
Yeah, but it's called Miniature Rescues, not eBay Miniature Painting.
Well, thumbs down. And I'll click it twice, just to make sure it goes through.
Twice? I think you mean something else, but I'll take it. This process was really fun, and I encourage all of you to grab some bits out of your drawer and make something that makes you smile. It can be ridiculous or meaningful. It can be whatever you want it to be. With that, here are some super fun Deathguard Marines. Thank you for joining me on another miniature rescue. If you liked something about this video, please like, share, and subscribe, as it really helps out the channel. Once again, I'm Casey, and I will see you in the next video. Pew, pew, pew. Ah!